Biden preparing to launch series of clandestine cyber attacks against Russia. New York Times. Now, are they clandestine if the US just announced that they were going to do them? Now, of course, the attacks themselves won't be specifically announced, but once they take place, we'll know that it was the US who did it. This reminds me of the US invasion of Iraq in 2003 or any of the other illegal wars of aggression the US has waged. They find a pretext, a false pretext, and they use that as justification for unilateral aggression. And that's exactly what they're doing now, only they're doing it with cyber warfare. The pretext this time is the SolarWinds hack. Okay, right here, the SolarWinds breach that the US is claiming Russia was behind. Where is the evidence of this? RT, Russian state media, says there is no evidence. But of course, that's Russian state media, so of course they're going to say that, right? And the New York Times article that RT is citing, surely in there will be evidence. But if you go to the New York Times article, preparing for retaliation against Russia, U.S. confronts hacking by China, the proliferation of cyber attacks by rivals is presenting a challenge to the Biden administration as it seeks to deter intrusions on government and corporate systems. If you go through this article, you don't see any evidence provided. If you go to the New York Times' article on the SolarWinds breach, scope of Russian hacking becomes clear. Multiple U.S. agencies were hit. And so from the very headline, they say that this was definitely Russia. So of course, they're going to show us the evidence of that somewhere in the article. But if you go through the article, paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, you come down to this paragraph: the early assessments of the intrusions believed to be the work of Russia's SVR, a successor to the KGB, etc., etc., etc. Believed to be. That's when that's what you say when you have no evidence, because if you had evidence, it's not believe anything. It's we know for sure, and here is the evidence. So again, this is the WMD of cyber warfare, a major hack carried out that the US is claiming Russia did. Now, this is the thing with cyber warfare. Attributing the attack to who did it is difficult, if not impossible. And the only way you could probably do it is if you're the United States and you openly say you're going to do it, and then you do it. Then it's clear that the US did it. Russia never claimed that they did this. They have denied that they did it, and the US has presented no evidence that they did it. Now, even if they did provide evidence and they said, look at this code, this is in Cyrillic, you know, the written language that Russians use. Let's take a look at this. This is from Wired. Wired is a very pro-establishment Western technology magazine. WikiLeaks drops Grasshopper documents, part 4 of its CIA Vault 7 files. And Vault 7 files was all about the different tools that the U.S. Intelligence community uses to carry out cyber warfare and then blame it on its adversaries. So if you go down to the Marble framework, Marble is used to hamper forensic investigators and antivirus companies from attributing viruses, Trojans, and hacking attacks to the CIA. The technology WikiLeaks discusses focuses on how the CIA's code is designed to make it easier for those writing malware to disguise who created it. It is possible for a person creating malware to set their spoken language as being Chinese, Russian, Korean, Arabic, and Farsi. The CIA created malware could potentially be developed to appear as if it was emanating from another country. So there you go. The CIA could do it, use it as a pretext for the US to wage unilateral cyber warfare against its adversaries, to have no actual real excuse to do it, but to fabricate an excuse and to carry out a unilateral first strike, if you will, in information space. So the US has done it with real warfare and killed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, have destroyed the lives of millions of people over the last 2 decades of this century, why wouldn't they also do it in regards to cyber warfare? And I think it's very clear that that's what's going on here. You don't talk about carrying out an attack against another country. You've already decided that you're going to do this, and you still haven't showed the public the evidence justifying this act of aggression. So here we are. We're back to this. This is what the U.S. has been doing under Trump, under Obama, under Bush. Americans keep voting these presidents in, hoping that this sort of policy will be changed, and yet they're just getting more of the same. So Biden has already bombed Syria. He's talking about attacking other targets all across the Middle East because U.S. troops illegally occupying countries there are under attack by people who don't want them illegally occupying their country. So Biden is vowing to punish those people for wanting sovereignty, for wanting to preserve their country's territory. And now Biden is admitting he will just go ahead with these unilateral cyber attacks, even though there's no evidence yet that Russia actually did the SolarWinds breach. So we're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to watch how this unfolds. To my Patreon patrons who make these daily videos possible, thank you very much. Please like and share the video if you thought it was useful. Think about subscribing. It is free to do and it helps the channel grow. Check the video description for the links to these articles. And I'm also going to put WikiLeaks' page for the Marble Network, so you can take a look at that as well. And as always, thank you for watching.